Starlinks, which is owned by Elon Musk, has cleared the final regulations of the Indian Space Promotion and Authorization Center, that is INSPAC. Satellite communication, that means the broadband services right from the satellites and the space, is going to be made available to common people, and this is somewhat going to revolutionize the spectrum of the Indian economic situation. So what is going to change, how things are going to be better in the Indian scenario? This is what we are going to see in today's video. Are you going to get the internet at very cheap prices? Will you be getting networks in the remotest of the area and the locations right on the top of mountains? Will things in connection with education and healthcare change because of this clearance that has been given by the INSPAC? And what makes Starlink so important for the Indian situation when actually we already have SATCOM services by different people, and these existing SATCOM services, satellite communication services, are being used in the Indian situation for various things. In fact, there is already a player in this market, Jio, with a JV with SES SA, which is a Luxembourg-based company. Two other players are also awaiting approvals from INSPAC, and these are Amazon Kuiper and Apple's Global Star. So they too will be entering the Indian market very soon. And it's probably the year end 2025 that you can expect the satellite services to be provided to your homes, to different remote areas and locations in our country. Now, you would say we already have certain broadband services, internet services on a mobile, and then what is this satellite communication, and why is it so essential and important for the development of digital India, which is a dream which has been placed and which is being worked upon? Gen 1 Starlinks are the LEO satellites which are in the category of low Earth orbiters or low Earth orbit. So this network is currently nearly 7,000 satellites. So the connectivity of these satellites altogether will lead to a speed of internet to the extent of 600 Gbps. Currently, geo networks which are operational are giving you the maximum speed of something around 1 Gbps. So imagine 600 times of the speed of internet we are going to get with the help of Starlinks. And not just that, they are also in the mission of expanding this satellite service to the extent of 42,000 satellites in the upcoming time period. So imagine the network speed, the capacity and the reach of the remotest of the locations, with the help of which you can get broadband services even on the top of mountains. Now, what are these LEO satellites and what is the speciality? The thing is, as the name suggests, low orbit satellites or low Earth orbit satellites. So Earth has different orbits, different satellites are in different orbits. And what happens when the signal goes from the Earth to the satellite and then it comes to the other person, just like the signal goes to the mobile tower currently and then it goes to the other person whom you're trying to connect. So the speed at which gap at which the time period which it takes from communicating from one person to another, this gap currently is maybe a few seconds. So you send a message to your friend and your friend receives in next few seconds and they can reply on it. But at the same time, this satellite service, which is at a huge speed which you are going to get, would be providing you services within milliseconds. Why is it so? The satellites which are in the upper orbits will take more time for communication because obviously the distance is more. So the message goes to the satellite, then the satellite sends it to the next user. So this is how things will be in the situation if the orbit that the satellite is using is a upper orbit, is a higher orbit. But these are low Earth orbits, so it is closer to the Earth, and this helps to send the signals and receive the message or receive the signal to the other person very quickly, maybe in just a few milliseconds. So that will be a big change, and data processing can take place very, very fast because of this. Now, satellite communication services is not something new. Obviously, there are around 80 countries, including India, who already have satellite communication services. So even now, today, you would be finding these communication services being used in airplanes. It would be used in the satellite phones, like we have SOS facilities, like if it's an emergency, then emergency calls can be handled through satellite. You have certain television broadcasting which is done with the help of satellites. Even in multiplexes, they use satellite communication services for having the films released in different theaters at the same time. So different methods, different satellite communication services are already existing for varied services, including military, including communication, navigation, and such others. But the difference here is that they are not yet available freely to common people like you and me. if you look at the brief history of Indian satellites and communication services, it's very interesting because it's not something new. Right from 1975, which was the first time period when we had our first satellite, which was called as Aryabhat. Then there were satellites which were added in 1970s. There were three more satellites. Then in 1980, there were 11 satellites. In 1990s, there were 16 satellites. In 2000, around 25 2000s, that particular 10 years time period we're talking of, there were nearly 25 satellites. And in 2010s, there were nearly 68 satellites. So already we have a lot of satellites, but they are not being used in terms of common broadband services for people. Space economy of India is estimated to have a potential of nearly $44 billion by the end of 2033, and it will be contributing to nearly 8% of the total global share. So you have so many users in India, and the space services would be used in India to the extent which will be nearly 8% of the total world share. So imagine the huge amount of potential for this SpaceX. And that's the reason people like Elon Musk are becoming more and more interested in having the Starlinks and having such satellite communication services being given to India. At the same time, we should be interested in understanding why the buzz about Elon Musk Starlinks. There are other companies also who are providing the services, who are also coming to India, who are in the process of getting approvals from the Indian government. But why Starlinks? We are making a buzz of it, and we are so feeling so good and happy that Starlinks is coming to India. I will tell you a few facts about this particular thing. The first important thing is this company Starlinks makes very low cost satellites. Now, how a satellite's cost is as low as, let's say, $2,000 in terms of this Starlinks. Not just that they are making low cost satellites, but they are reusing their satellites. So there could be refurbished satellites. So sometimes collisions happen, satellites get damaged in the orbit because of this collision, and this satellite becomes useless. In the case of other companies, this satellite could be just thrown away and destroyed and it becomes useless. But in the case of Starlink has a specialty of repairing these satellites, reusing the satellites couple of times, and at the same time they also use refurbished satellites for this purpose. So this lowers their cost to the extent of what we can say is 10% of the cost of what the main core satellites may cost. So if a satellite is costing around $20,000, then you will have only $2,000 which Starlink spends on it. Most importantly, they are not buying satellites from external manufacturers. They are making their own satellites, which is a very, very important thing for the purpose of having a low cost satellite service. And India, having a huge population and a population 80%, 90% of the population wanting low cost services, Starlinks become especially important for Indian situation. So as we know that India is wanting to grow in terms of digital economy, digital India, this is what is the dream, and we are taking steps towards achieving this dream. So for this purpose, Starlinks is a very important link between the rural areas of India and the digital economy. They are definitely going to provide good connectivity to the rural areas, which is nearly again 80% people living in rural areas. So these 80% people will get good connectivity, and not just good connectivity, but also connectivity at a lower cost. So listing the benefits of Starlinks coming to India, we can say the first important benefit is providing high speed, low cost internet services to the rural and the most remotest locations in our country. Second thing they will be helping out is healthcare, because even now rural areas do not have the consulting and the better healthcare services. So at least we can have online consultancies for their purpose, and they can even order the medicines online. So things which would be required for healthcare can be given away in the format of internet services. Third point would be obviously the improved education services. Now, providing good quality education to rural areas is a challenge, because if a person sitting in the most remotest location of India, let's say a very small town in Uttarakhand, and they want to learn English, the tutor over there, the teacher over there may not be themselves well versed in English language. So then they can actually connect to a person in Pune or Mumbai who can teach good English. So this is how things can improve in terms of education. So it will be a better connectivity and better linkages to different people, the faculties who can connect to the students for the purpose of providing quality education to the most remotest location. And finally, the benefit for the economy, because right now we have things like Big Basket, Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, online services, all are being, even banking services, people who are buying things online like Amazon and other such things. So these are available in the core cities, the metropolitan cities, maybe the other cities areas, but it is not yet available in rural facilities, rural areas, and even in the small towns. So if the small towns get access to the high speed internet at low cost, they can obviously order things online. So they can learn online, they can get healthcare facilities online, and at the same time, they can even do shopping online. So exploration of different opportunities which are currently available in the major cities only can be shifted to the rural areas. Now, imagine a person sitting in Pune and doing some kind of IT work. Now, what happens is right now the cities are getting overcrowded because of this. There is a high density of population who is all the time coming to major cities for the purpose of jobs and job opportunities. But now this can shift to the rural areas, and even development in rural areas can be possible to a great extent because of the connectivity of internet facilities, which are currently lacking. Even payment systems, which are online payment systems, are not available in remote locations. You can see that the towers are available for telecom, but they may not have the proper signals. You don't get the frequency, you don't get the connectivity which is required for maybe online transfers in that location. So this particular satellite communication will be an uninterrupted service, good signal facilities all across India. Now, what are the main challenges? Now, main challenges when any kind of the satellite communication is launched in our country would be, the first challenge would be the cost efficiency. Now, as I told you in the beginning, that India is having 80 to 90% of population who want all the time low cost facilities. They may be okay with compromising a little on quality, but the cost is very essential and important for them. So having a good cost efficiency service is the most important thing and the most challenging thing that these companies are going to face in India. Now, exact cost, what will be charged per month, may range from somewhere around 300 to 2,400 rupees per month. But it's not yet clear. No company has yet disclosed on the cost, how much they are going to charge. How this can be done is two parts. One is the capex, that is the capital expenditure, and second is the operating expenditure, opex. So capex and opex can help you to actually lower on the cost. So capital expenditure, the more capital expenditure is done in the beginning part, obviously the recovery of this capital has to take place. So charges would be higher, at least in the initial time periods. Then comes the operating expenditure. Operating expenditure is the day to day expenditure that the company will face, like, for example, salaries, then maintenance charges, right? So once the satellite is launched, that would be the capex, and the satellite maintenance year on year, what they're doing, would be the opex. So both of these costs should be lowest. And this is a very important challenge that even Starlinks will be facing in India because it wants to make it appealing to the masses. So we all are waiting for these services to come to India. Starlinks coming to India is a very good news for the Indian economy in terms of education, healthcare, economic development, rural development, and providing of different services. It means that the dream of 5 trillion plus whatever economy is being told about to us may become a reality. So let's wait for the year end for these services to be launched. At least they will be launched in the beginning in the major cities and other areas for test basis, or even in certain remote locations, so that people really so that they understand whether this works well or not. So on Commerce Gyan, we will be discussing such things which are connecting the commerce, the industry, the economies of India. And there would be current affairs which are going on in the news that would be discussed on this channel. So just in case you have not yet subscribed to Commerce Gyan, do subscribe to this channel, share this video, comment, put your comments in the comment section, because that helps us to understand what you like, what you don't like, and hope to see you in the next video of Commerce Gyan. Thank you.